Howdy, howdy, howdy. Well, Randall said he's busy working tonight, so he's not going to be in. And he's the only one that was in the chat. So let's see if we get anybody tonight. Well, here comes CV Railroad and HO. How you doing? Well, there's Joey.
I'm in here. Wow, just like a nice glow, and I'm stuck in this box right here. Are we live already?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Dwight just came in. CV Railroad.
You know, I'm gonna try to get some more light here.
Are you at home?
I am home.
Oh, okay. You're just not down in the basement.
No, I don't. I have a bunker now. Only the elite have the passcode to it too. I'm glad I can make you laugh, John.
DES Media Productions. How y'all doing? Dan's
Did we
Railroad.
mention TSG?
Huh?
Did you just say TSG's on board with us?
I said DES.
A DS. Oh, okay, cool.
DES.
He's on the train with us. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
And Dan's small railroading journey. He just popped in. So we're getting a few here.
Nice.
Randall won't be with us tonight. He's working and very busy.
Are we all busy? Or just busy having fun, right? I hope so, anyway.
Yeah. Wigwag Workshop and Dave BNSF in scale just popped in. How y'all doing?
That cat has a nice layout. Check out his channel, too.
Mr. Frank just popped in. As Bill would say, Frank G.
Frank G. All right.
And here's Ethan on the panel. How you doing, Ethan?
Hi.
What's going on, Ethan?
Hang on a second. Okay, there. Wait, hang on. Wait, what is this? Okay, hang on. This is where my sister Renee goes to school. Chopin-Urbana.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't have a train shirt. I'm all out of train shirts. That's what I'm doing laundry tomorrow. Yeah. So, oh, look, Randall's in here. Yeah. Hi, Randall.
Hello. Well, I lied. I thought I wasn't going to be able to join you guys tonight, but the crew decided they wanted to stop and get some dinner before they headed back there. So I can talk to you for a little bit.
That's funny. Oh, okay. Yeah. We have the house fan on. Hang on. Let me just. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Let me get this. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to the Illinois Railway Museum this Saturday.
It's good.
It should be
Good
nice.
I've seen videos of it.
I'm going to ride on 3 different equipment. Yeah. Yeah. So how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm fine. I'm at work right now, so.
And I'm off from work.
I see you're lagging a little bit. The guy on this, you're kind of lagging. I forgot to tell you.
Well, he can't help that. He's on his cell phone.
Oh, okay. I was just letting you know.
Yeah, he's at work.
Oh, okay, figures.
Yeah, I'm sitting here in front of a restaurant right now, so it's probably not helping the signal any.
No, I was talking to someone else, Randall. You're fine.
Oh, okay.
I was talking to the guy that's New York Central guy. Yeah, you.
Me? Probably. Yeah. I have my service is a little funky down here.
Oh,
in the
okay.
bunker.
Yeah, that's something unusual. Yeah.
Johnny,
go ahead.
It's a shame. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, Johnny, it's a shame I didn't talk to you last night, Johnny. There were trains absolutely everywhere yesterday.
Yeah.
Mark Tree, Arkansas, back to Thayer.
Wow.
So, yeah, they were really running them hard.
Intermodal?
Pretty good mix of intermodal, manifest, coal.
Nice.
We have a pretty good mix of everything here.
Right. I got some DVDs from the library into my loans because our library is a mess. It's like a train wreck.
And
Because I have all the magazines until spring of 2023.
Okay.
So
Well,
they're saying that I have to check out the magazines for down the road, which is nice. The only thing I don't like is that they stopped ordering Pentrax DVDs, and I told them, look, they're having a sale on Pentrax. And what they said, no.
I, well,
Pentrax is good. I like them.
Well, I like them if the wildlife would have enough money, which they do, but they're not being cooperating-ish, in my opinion, because they're like not being sociable. Like we're being sociable, they're not. You know what I mean?
Green Frog has good DVDs too.
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
is, I don't care if they're expensive, but yeah, it's mad. I'm not that picky. And plus, I'm getting some more from the Illinois Reverence in the bookstore right then. Yeah, so that's been nice. And I got some history stuff about the big boy guys, 4414. Did you know it was the first largest steam engine to be run?
yeah.
It's weighs a lot track record than the Challenger 3985. Yeah. And then there's a funny picture on the steam engine 4442 wheel. And that's my brother-in-law fan, who lives here. And we have a kitty cat named Felix. He likes to cause trouble. He was on the counter today, and I chased him.
You can stay on the railroad topic.
I know. Oh, is that gun and balls? Cool, gun and balls. I know. It's just
Yeah, Dave BNSF said he's got a good pile of the Pentrack DVDs.
That's cool.
I still have the tape cassettes and a VCR.
That's nice. I'm getting one too. Yeah,
There you
one
go.
set- Yeah, because a lot of libraries don't order VHS tapes because I got in trouble because I accidentally broke one. It was, what was it? Oh yeah, it was Chicago Steam Service in the 1993 MSS Convention Special. Oh, by the way, did you hear about the Chicago and South Shore and South Bend? They shut down the electric line. So
Really?
They ripped up the stations. It's only free, only in Amtrak. That's it. Yeah, it's just because of the highways and they're not using public train equipment anymore because this is too much. Because of COVID, it's just too much to handle. Plus, we have Metro Electric, right, Dad? And it costs us too much money to run, right, Daddy? Yeah. Oh, did you hear about Nick said the Nickel Boy 756s in Steam in the Valley 2022.
Yeah.
They're gonna run this year. Nice.
Yeah, well, man, I
haven't seen that steam engine forever.
Oh, goody. I got you. So there, kid. I got an email from the Union Pacific. Yeah, Railroad about new stuff. Yeah.
Well, CV Railroad NHO said his weekends. Thomas and Emily at the Exit Steam Train.
That's cool. Yeah, that should be nice. Second, I'm getting rid of my tabs. Hold on just a second. There's a DVD by Railway Productions. It's called Big Boy 44 Goes to Texas, Rando. And the libraries won't share it. This is Nathaniel, by the way. He says hi. That's my brother back there. He works in Elgin as an Elgin sleeper, right, Nathaniel? Yeah, he loves it. Oh, yesterday I saw equipment that looks like Elgin sleeper. Okay. Nathaniel works in Elgin and he loves his job. Just a second. I'm getting rid of some of these tabs. Hold on. Okay, wait. Yeah, okay. There we go. Sorry. Okay. Now I'm on to train stuff. Okay. So
Ethan.
Go ahead.
Do you know a guy named Vinny?
Vinny, YouTube, yes. Not on here. Why do you ask? Wait, hang on.
Well, I swear, Have you ever been on his show?
No,
Hmm.
I missed it because I was what was I doing? Oh, that's right. I was taking a shower.
Oh,
That's what I was doing.
That's important.
Yeah,
yeah.
because I'm
Well,
supposed
I'm
to be
sure Benny was
paying
glad of
attention.
that.
Yes.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
no one can smell me through the camera right now. I haven't taken a shower yet.
You need to take a shower, please.
I do.
You're gonna smell sweaty. Yeah. Oh, and tomorrow's Joseph's graduations are the neighbors getting having graduation party.
Ah,
Yeah, Joseph's going to college. That should be nice.
yeah.
Are you
Oh,
taking
yeah.
him rail fanning?
No, he does like he's cool. He doesn't like trains. He doesn't like
Not
trains.
yet. Everybody loves trains.
Well, not the ropers. See, they like baseball. See, I'm gonna 1 minute, guys. I gotta close my door. Sorry.
So, Brandon, where are you at right now?
It's fairly busy.
Seconds.
What's that, Randall?
Sorry.
I was going to say it's fairly busy at Jonesboro. There was a train sitting on the UP, and there was 3 BNSF trains while I was there at Jonesboro. The one I picked the crew up off of, and then there was a coal load, and then when I was leaving with the
I'm back.
inbound crew, there was one coming through the yard. So,
Yeah, sorry. There was too many people going by the street. Our street's kind of like a main street, like the electric line. It's like very busy with so many cars. Yeah. I made a lot of train calls. Guys, how many calls I made? 25 train calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that one I picked the crew up off of. The second motor was a super fleet engine, a BNSF super fleet. I think they call them fake bonnets, but
I'm trying to adjust the camera. Okay, there we go.
I saw a couple of I saw a war bonnet and a fake bonnet together going from Monette, Missouri this past Sunday, going towards Tulsa. So that was actually interesting.
There's still a few. There's still a few of those old Santa Fe war bonds floating around, but boy, they're getting long in the tooth. They look pretty rough now. So
I don't think so.
Yeah.
They're still around.
No, they're still around. I'm just saying they're getting a little bit long in the tooth. They're the paint's really getting pretty beat up on them.
Yeah, they need new paint jobs.
I got a drink from my neighbor. Christ, you see, this looks like Hawaii.
Yeah.
The red has faded so much on them that they almost appear pink. So,
well, they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
and they created they brought back that paint scheme for their intermodal service in the 90s.
Yep.
Yeah. Pendex has come down to merger, but that wasn't true. They still have those. Yeah.
That is one of my favorite videos.
It's a sad one, but the good news is that IRM has some of those 18SF diesels. Yeah. Did you hear about the Challenger 3985? It's in Southwest Illinois. It won't be running until next year.
No, well, let's give it time. It'll run again for sure. That's a good. That's a good idea to run that one.
No, if you go onto the Cheyenne, Wyoming website, it will tell you all about the 3985. It's being refixed again. This time, I will be traveling in West Chicago, from Southwest for Rochelle into West Chicago into Oakville and back to Cheyenne.
Hey, Touch, is that a Frisco engine you're working on?
That is one of my fellow employees. He's a model railroader too, so I'm working on redoing some of the weathering because he purchased this off of eBay, and we're going to touch up some of the weathering from the previous owners. And so, yes, this is the F7.
Oh, those are nice.
This is this B unit. It's an Athens Genesis. They're really super nice models. I have a Walther's Proto 2000. Is it a Pro 2000? Yes, a Pro 2000 F3s, CB&Q locomotives, and they are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And now I think I need a Frisco one too.
Yeah, I have a Pro 2008 in the Frisco red scheme. So
right. And I personally collect the late 40s, early 50s, so I have to go. This scheme is before then. I mean, it's after
Yeah,
the
it's
50s.
after. That's the final scheme.
But it's interesting trying to redo the paint job just a little bit. So I got to find the
I
right
was
color.
at Hobby Town, and they had a Frisco F unit that was in the black scheme and with the gold trim.
Yes, it's a beautiful scheme.
Yeah.
If you have those the original Alcos, well, the Baldwins, they looked really nice in that scheme. Really sharp.
Really nice.
Okay. Add a little white to that. So yes, that's what I'm doing right now. Is finishing, and then I have a big boy to weather for a client. So that's gonna be fun.
I'm back. Look, I got. Hey, first guy was New York Centro. Look.
Yeah, we got.
Look.
Oh, very nice.
Guess
is that a Baltimore in Ohio?
Yes, that is correct. B and O.
Nice. You know that was the very first railroad of the United States, right?
Yeah, I got this at Oh, it's made in China. Cool. See, it says right here. It's made in China. Yeah. I think I got this somewhere. It's pretty diesel. It has one freight car. That's it. This one is still here somewhere. I don't know what. Yeah, that one also looks like the Burlington Northern F unit. The one that you're working on.
It does. It's close. It's a very close paint scheme because the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy did have a red and white color on their original F units. So yes, the Frisco has a very similar scheme.
Oh yeah, there's a Frisco 1522 that's still on display. Whoever's going to that area, that's up in St. Louis. I'm not going to St. Louis. We're going to Grand Rapids, Wisconsin in June.
That's a beautiful state. I would love to go out to Wisconsin.
Yeah, the parents' friends live there, and Wisconsin has so many train museums. There we go.
They do, and I think they have a few museums out there.
Okay, there we go. Right. Wait. Yeah. I lost the camera. Just a second.
You're right about that, Frank.
I lost the camera. I got it. Okay, I'm right here. Sorry about that. Are you still there?
Yeah.
We're all here.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Okay, wait. Okay. Yeah.
And so,
oops. You can see my hair.
The scheme is very, very sharp. That's what I like about the Frisco. Always had a beautiful paint scheme, and they had this particular scheme up until their merger with Burlington Northern in 1980.
Oh, really?
This scheme right here.
Perfect. All right, this second, guys, I'm trying to fix something. Okay.
Being absorbed to Frisco in 1980.
1980.
And shortly after that, they had the Tiger Stripe scheme.
Yes.
They call it around here. They call it the Frisco Northern scheme. But,
oh, that's interesting.
That's
nice.
kind of a rather interesting point in BN's history. So,
there are a few modelers.
A lot of the guys that remember that look fondly upon. So,
right, and there are a few modelers out there that model the early BN, and they had some very colorful consists back in those days, just like Conrail in 76.
Yeah. Which in my mind was sad because I always thought that tire stretch scheme looked really cool. It's a shame it had to kind of come with a bunch of controversy with it, but
what's so funny?
It's true because what's going on here? It reminds me of the Kodachrome scheme for the SPSF that never happened. There's another beautiful scheme.
I actually remember seeing some of those old Kodachrome engines. They lived well into the BNSF era.
They did.
They did.
Sorry.
Up until early 2000.
Yep.
See, Randall, look. It's this Illinois.
Yep, that's cool.
Chopin, Urbana. That's where my sister and I goes to. I'm sorry, my face is chopped up. Sorry, I'm trying to fix the camera. There we go. Johnny, you've been very quiet today. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've never seen something silently quiet. It's like you're on a quiet car or something like that. I don't know. This have one of those. Those are annoying. You know what I mean?
No, I'm just trying to keep everything running there.
Okay.
Keep the
Yeah.
stream going.
I wasn't on Big Bet, whatever, at Big Ray show. I tried to get onto the StreamYard and they didn't want to cooperate. So yeah. Let's see what's going on. Oh yeah. Let's see. I got some more magazines from Chicagoland, and then I'm going to get more VHS days from Pentrax. If they have any, if they don't, then that's fine. Yeah.
I'm assuming Dave BNSF is referring to other groups that had the code chrome. He's saying NP, CB, and Q, G and N, SP, and S, Frisco.
There's one wild paint scheme, and this engine's no longer in that scheme. But they painted a SD70 Mac in a one-off scheme they called the Vomit Bonnet, which is basically the Santa Fe War Bonnet, but in BN's green and cream executive colors. And I have a model of that engine. I believe it's somebody might can correct me if it's wrong, but I think that engine was number 9647.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it was one of a kind engine. There was no other locomotive painted in that scheme. It was the only one ever painted in that scheme.
Yeah, Dave BNSF said that was ugly.
Right.
It's weird, Johnny, because that engine has almost, in recent years, has almost gained almost like a cult following. Even though it was been repaying almost 9 years ago now. I think I read somewhere it was repaying in 2013 into the H3 scheme, but that locomotive has almost gained almost like a cult following lately. So,
back.
You know what was cool too? Seeing the old U-boats from Metro North on the BNSF.
Oh really?
Yeah, those are cool.
I miss those days too. I actually have an Atlas model with the BNSF.
I think I've seen photos of those engines. Those are cool.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice theme there, Ethan.
That's the same engine I got from Goodwill.
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's Santa Fe 9015.
Yeah.
In fact, I still have one.
Sorry, there's a camera.
I still have an engine like that one, Johnny. It's actually sitting on my shelf down at the house. On a shelf, but it looks just like the one Ethan's got, just about.
Yeah.
Go. Okay. So yeah, that's what I have. Oops. I got this and this. Yeah. Okay, put this over here.
Yeah, don't drag them all out tonight, Ethan. Save a few for other shows.
Are you talking about this or this?
No, bringing out all your engines.
Oh, you're talking about the beer? Well, I like to keep it. You know who else has this? Grandpa Rails has one of this. It's not getting close. It's like you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Like right here, but it's not even close to my mouth.
Yeah. Dave BNSF said SD60M had an experimental BNSF paint scheme, not quite as ugly.
Well, that's
no, I
know
that one too. That's the one. It's got a single red stripe on one side, and on the other side, it's got a red stripe with I think thin blue lines, if I remember reading it right.
Oh, okay.
Reading the thing on it. It was painted that way. I guess the crew, the employees were to choose which version they liked better, whether they wanted the stripe with the thin blue lines or just a solid red stripe was the way I read it. So,
right.
Ultimately, ultimately the red stripe won out because they changed it to a yellow stripe later. But
Oh, did you hear my sister when I got an employee job, a training job in Hoffman States?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and Renee's team won 18-7.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, because they're going to the playoffs. Yeah. So yeah, so it's hard to hear. We have the house fan on upstairs. Yeah, it's hot here in Lyle. How hot is it, Johnny and Randall?
Oh, we
well,
got up to 90 today.
Okay, 1 star at a time, please. Sorry, go ahead, Johnny, please.
We got up to 90 today.
Okay, Randall, your turn, please.
we got up to 94. As I'm sitting here at Jonesboro right now, it's 87.
Okay, guy touch of the brush weathering was the big boy. Yeah, you. What's the
Me.
temperature? Yeah, what?
What's the temperature?
Yeah,
It's in the 80s.
what's us? 66?
No, it's about 80.
80. We got an 80 tie. Ooh, big boy, 4405.
4,005. Yeah, we got 4,005 here.
Yeah,
This is the
that's
Happy
right.
Genesis
I
one.
knew that because that's a. Because I knew that. Wait, hang on. Oops.
Touch of brush, I don't envy you one bit. I wouldn't have the nerve to weather those Frisco engines or that big boy.
I knew that.
Not my models.
That would make me even more scared to weather it. It wasn't mine.
I just weathered 15 Pennsylvania Railroad steam engines for a client, and I have about 20 more to go for one. He's based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he has a triple decker Pennsylvania Railroad layout that takes place in the mid 40s. And so it was a big project and a lot of decaling and weathering. And I got the next batch coming in a couple of weeks. So these are my in between projects.
Man, you're going to be a busy man.
I am a busy man.
Hey, Randall, look, I got Best of Midwest Volume 1 from Penn Tracks.
Yep.
Look, Randall, can you take off the picture of the diesel, please, so I can see you, please?
No, he can't do it. He's on his cell phone.
Well,
okay.
I can, but there's nothing to see. I'm not next to the rail yard, so
I'm not that picky. Anyways, here's the DVD. Oh wait, wait. Anyways, here's the DVD. Oh, sorry, my camera.
No.
Wait, can you help me fix this? Is that correct? Yeah. Anyways, here's Best on the Midwest Volume 1.
No, see, it's right here. You can't see it.
I'll let you down.
You can't see it either because it has the.
Oops. Here,
Just say the title.
All right, so this is Best on the Midwest Volume 1.
Oh yeah. I've heard that video. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Apparently there's a Best of Midwest Volume 3, but none of the libraries won't share, Rando. They're being stubborn. Anyways, I got this from somewhere. I know where I got this. It's a freight car. These are not okay for children, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's this. It's a Santa Fe.
Yep.
Amanda didn't want me to show it to her, how can I say, to their kids because she said it's choking hazards. So yeah, this is what I got from the train set, from the 18 set, lineup train set. Yeah. And then, yeah, this DVD is from Into My Lawn. This came from Mount Prospect Public Library, Mount Prospect, Illinois. Yeah, hang on. Wait.
How you doing, Samurai? He just popped in.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
See?
I have a question for the panel in the chat. I'm probably gonna get beat up for this question too. What is the gentleman's name that preserved and restored the big boy? What's his first name? Is it Ed?
Wow.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody has to know. Anyway, he actually autographed the steam engine for my friend when
okay.
the big boy came to visit Van Buren, Arkansas.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it's
If Split Rock's in here somewhere, if he's
I
kind of
hadn't
lurking
seen him.
around, he could probably tell you he works for UP.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in here. He might be working tonight.
Well,
Might
that's
be.
good, Gus.
CB Railroad and HO Scale said yes, it's Ed.
It's Ed. Okay.
Oh, really? I didn't know. Yeah, the guy who works in the big place name's Ed, number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our club members, he's got a Challenger from BLI.
That's cool.
That is a large engine. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
That's
It
cool.
is.
Well, big boy to sneeze at.
I've actually got a video of it on my channel running with my Frisco engine. So yeah, it makes my Frisco E8 look downright little.
You know what's interesting about purchasing and running the articulated is that you can have tighter curves. Just make sure you have a lot of access on each side, space on each side for your curves.
Right.
This thing actually can run on a 24-inch radius.
Yeah.
CB Railroad also said that he was the engineer. Ed.
Okay.
That it was the engineer. Okay, I thought so too. That's good to know. I appreciate the info.
Hey, guy in the New York Central Store, how many trains do you have?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've downsized tremendously. I used to collect the 1990s era. Now I collect the late
what numbers?
40s.
How many trains maximum total?
Me?
He's got about 4 or 5 gazillion.
Okay.
Gazillion? Yeah, sure. We're good with that number.
Wow, you have more than us. I'm surprised your wife can handle that many trains.
I have more than what I could count on my fingers. If that makes
Yeah, I'm sure your wife is happy that enough trains.
CB Railroad said the guy's name is Ed Dickens.
Dickens. That's okay. Ed Dickens. Okay. Yeah, he did autograph this, and he actually wrote the big boy on the front of the boiler too for my friend. So I thought that was really nice. I'm not going to weather that part, so I'm going to tape that over so that way we don't touch that autograph.
Yeah, hopefully you won't pull it off either when you take the tape off.
No, that's why I have blue tape.
Oh yeah, right. That is almost time.
What I'm going to do is seal it first before I put blue tape on.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I gotta go to bed because I have a big day. So I'll talk to you later. Thank you for helping.
See you then.
All right.
Good night. Good night, Brandon,
night.
and the guy in the New York Central, sir.
Yeah.
Even though your name's not on there.
It's Joey.
Okay, well, the next time when you're on there, you need to put your name, please. Or we can call you Mr. New York Central guy. That's even better.
I like that. I'm from New York City. I was born and raised there.
Bye, guys. All right, bye.
He's a good kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always like when my memory cards are always full and I don't realize it. I'm recording myself while I'm painting, and then I realize half the project is done and my camera is completely full. And now I gotta look for another memory card.
That's what I like about my camera. I've got 2 64 gigabyte cards in it.
That's this one, and obviously haven't been responsible enough to empty it off yet.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about camcorders. This one's got 2 slots. So slot A, once it fills, it automatically switches to slot B.
That's cool.
I don't have to worry about filling it up. In fact, I've never really filled up one yet.
When I've worked on my other layout, I did a lot of recording. And there's some points where I'm just sitting there and I realized I recorded an hour of nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, oops, oopsies.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right, I'm not going to sit here for the rest of the show looking for a memory card. I'll just wait. Actually, Johnny knows me really well because the last time I tried that, I was looking for tweezers or something along those lines. The whole show, there was a great panel here. And you just see me going like this, looking for stuff. And everybody's like, why is Joey looking manic? I just can't find my tweezers.
I know
And
the
I found
feeling.
in
I
the last
look
5 minutes of
the
the
whole
show.
time. And then I end up finding they're laying right under my nose the whole time. So
Yes.
Oh, there
Or
you
one
go.
time I have those little packages of those really tiny drill bits. And I didn't know you could slide it. I thought it pops open. So I popped it open and they're so tiny. They just fell into the abyss of the floor and within the rug. And so that was me. Looked like I was snorkeling the bottom of the ocean trying to find them.
yeah.
Or like the Zelinskis from Honey I Shrunk the Kids, where they're in the ground with magnifying glasses and goggles trying to find the kids in the grass. That was me too.
I believe that's the movie. Yeah.
Well, Frank G's got a good idea for you, Joey.
What's that?
He said, depending on the camera, you might be able to hook up the camera to your laptop and record the videotape through the laptop, saving you a lot of money and memory cards. Of course, you can buy SD recorders, external back.
I never thought about that. I got to see
External
if I
back.
can do that too.
Yeah, because you can put buy yourself a 2 terabyte SD and external. Just plug that in the camera and tape it to the tripod.
Huh. Okay. Well, I have to try that one of these days. And so right now I got to open up the window, put the fan on, and seal this model so that way we can start the weathering process. And I'm like, I'm not weathering this to make it look completely filthy. I'll do some light weathering because sometimes that could take away from the model too, especially if this is a piece that's just a famous kind of model. I want to make sure you can still see that it looks like a big boy. It's not something that's filthy, but he wants it just enough to look like it's been on the road for a few months. So that will be really, really nice to give it some little more character.
Yeah.
But I have started working on the bottom level of the layout. We were just talking about this. I lost my brass brush to clean some of my soldering tips. So I'm in the process of looking for that so I can start the soldering.
I guess they're getting in, guys. So I guess I better get off. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Randall, have a good one. Be
Take
safe.
care, man.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, I'm by myself now. Now I'm scared and I'm stuck in this box. Can't get out of.
I'll be there in a minute. Let's see, Dave, BNSF. Closest I came to weathering a loco was in Athearn SD75 ATSF. Too much silver, had to blacken the grills and highlight panel lines.
Yeah, the simplest way that I have learned was to use a diluted flat black paint and either a very small brush, or you can use a Q-tip and dab it just very lightly in the grill. You can air dry or blow it dry with a blow dry, which I use on a low setting, of course, about 6 to 8 inches away from the model. And from there, you can use some powders or just add maybe a couple more coats of that diluted black paint, and you could get a really nice effect on the vents and the radiators.
Yeah.
And with the steam engines, it's go ahead, Johnny.
No, go ahead.
Just for steam engines, I've been learning a lot, and most of the videos that I have come across were airbrushing, and I do have an airbrush, but unfortunately, it's not working at the moment, and so I've been doing a lot of dry brushing and using hand paints to weather the steam locomotives. And so one of the techniques is the same diluted black flat, and you can use it on the boiler. Now the Pennsylvania Railroad was interesting because it's a very, very dark green that they have. And so what I used to do is dilute the paint about 1 part to like 4 parts of water to paint. So very, very diluted. And from there, I go over the whole boiler and then let that dry. Sometimes that's all it needs. And you want to streak it down to where you take, let's say, try to get this to a point where you can see. So I take half of it and streak it down this way, and then the other part down this way. And so you have that streak motion, and then you want to use white. And I actually have a co-worker who worked on the Nevada Northern, and he was an engineer for the steam engines. And I've asked him just the weathering, what the steam engines look like, where would you use the white, where we use some grays, and you would like some little bit of white and some grays on the underneath the firebox.
Yeah.
So because of the ash, sometimes on the pistons, sometimes light coatings on the wheels, the drive wheels, and even the back wheels too. So the back wheels here, you will see them a lot on these back wheels. Sometimes even on the pilots. It just depends on the model. And so it's very concentrated amount, very, very tiny amount. You don't need to overdo the weathering on a steam engine because it could go both ways. It could go looking really fake or realistic to the point where it actually looks like it's been on the road for a bit. And you can use a little bit of a soot or a certain kinds of blacks around the smokestack on the gray part of the boiler up here, which looks really nice. Let me grab actually one of the steam engines that I have worked on because they're just really nice. I can tell you what I've been showing, and all of them are. Oh my gosh, it's Andy, brother. How have you
What's up,
been?
man? How are you?
Oh man, I missed you. I really missed you, man.
I know, man.
These are BLI Broadway Limited models, all of them. So see if I can grab this one out of here.
I got a few BLI locomotives. I've not weathered steam though. They need to be weathered. Everything needs to be weathered in my life, but I haven't done that yet.
Right. Now I don't know if I could show it here. See if I can. It's gonna be probably very hard. I need actually look at that. I need to take the tape off of this one. I forgot that. It's gonna be very hard to see. But under here, now you got the pistons. They have some grays and whites in here. Also, you can use straight glossy black, especially if it's an oil burner before the coal burners. I'm sorry, after the coal burners, a lot of steam engines went to oil. So you can show oil streaks by using just gloss black paint, and it gives that shiny look to them. And of course, you could cover that if you're going to dull the rest of the model with a dull coat. Cover that up so that way you can keep that gloss present, and if not, you can always paint it again just over the dull coat. But I got a little bit on the pistons here, the boiler up here, some on the pistons here, some white, some grays, and so that gives the locomotive as represents the ash from the firebox.
Yeah, I think I mentioned something on one of your Facebook posts about the drivetrain because the BLI models, the rods, that's a problem on the BLI models. They're pretty hard to to get an etchant to work on them. So, like a lot of the common etchants won't work. Ralph has an etchant, I think, from Micromark that he's used that he was successful with. Because I've been a fan of etching those to get the blackness to them, because then they still look metal. They look like whatever that process is. I think it's called atomized or whatever that process that they do to like a DeLorean. A DeLorean car is not just open stainless steel like a kitchen sink. It's been treated with something, an electro process that they dip it in. They do something to those that makes them very hard to get paint to stick to them because of that. Like paint won't stick to a DeLorean. You can spray it, it wouldn't stick it, wouldn't stick to it. You got to do something to it to deal with the electroplating.
Right.
Same problem with the drivetrain I've had is paint doesn't stick, but etching works. You just got to get an etchant that can anodized. Thank you, CV. Anodized. That's the term. I've been talking about that recently. My mental bandwidth is very constrained lately. I've been mentally a bit taxed, so I'm running out of bandwidth. But etching works better, or a paint with an etching primer in it, which I'm no expert at. I need to talk to somebody who does auto body or stuff that more expert, because that's a unique paint situation.
Yeah, CV Railroad found a way of weathering. He said he put a GP 38-2 shell out in the garden to see what would happen 2 years ago, and you can see how the sun faded the paint and the decals.
The problem is what it does to the plastic. Just like using many years ago, we used to use like brake cleaner or automated transmission fluid or something like that to clean paint off the shells, but it made them brittle. It does something to the plastic, and I'm afraid UV damage is it's cosmetic. It's interesting from a conversation perspective, but I think the UV would break the plastic down chemically. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's curious about, like, if I had G scale, which I would love to, in some future world where I have a limited time at budgets, that's not this universe, but in some other alternate universe where I would have an outdoor railroad around my backyard. I'd love to, but I think I would still put my equipment in a shed or inside. I still wouldn't.
At least a staging yard. A lot of folks do have a staging yard in their garage or a spare room, and they just there are a few guys who have a like a cat door.
Yeah.
To take the trains out, and so they close it up so it stays climate controlled.
Yeah.
During bad weather, or when the weather is just really hot or cold.
Well, I mean, we've had more tornadoes lately, and weather, and rain, and the sun beating down, and theft, and so there's no way I'm leaving anything outside. That's not happening,
Right.
But I do, again, I believe on a long enough timeline, if I live long enough, I will have a railroad running around a backyard. I had some G-scale equipment many years ago that I just set up a loop on the back patio and run trains occasionally, and I had a pair of F units and
much detail to it.
See that O-scale feels I love O. So I was an O-scale 2-rail modeler. We've talked about that before, and I really come very close when I converted from 1950 to 1987. Now I come very close to going back to O-scale 2-rail, Proto 48 actually. I just don't have the space for it, and I could not conceivably have enough space for the type of operations. I have no personal interest in owning a model railroad that doesn't operate. I have no interest in having a railroad that I can't get you to come visit me, Joey, and talk Johnny into, sneaking out of Georgia for a couple of days and getting a few buddies to come run trains. I have no interest in having a railroad that doesn't do that thing. And it requires so much space in O-scale to have a railroad that 4 guys can stand around with coffee and talk and run trains and do, it just requires too much railroad. I mean, if you're doing industrial stuff or a steel railroad, maybe, but not for what I like.
I really thought about converting to N scale. I'm like, no, I think that'll be a daunting task for me at the moment.
Me and Robert were part of the reason I was a little late jumping in here is me and Robert been on the phone for the last little bit. He keeps talking about that too, even though he's bought a little set and played with the N scale, didn't like it very well. But how much you could fit in a room with N scale, which is true, technically speaking, it's true. It's not twice as much, but it's 70% more, give or take. But like I have this opinion, and I think I wrote this in one of our e-mags a long time ago. I have an article. I either wrote it and we never published it, or maybe it published, called "Scale is a Tool Too." I think is what I called it. And my instinct is don't think about the scale first unless you just got a lot of stuff already. But if you're starting from scratch or considering something, what do you want to model? You know, if you want to model the Colorado Rockies or the Canadian Rockies, maybe even better, the Canadian Rockies in the modern era with stacked trains and stuff like that, man, it scale's hard to beat. That vista that you can have of 3 foot tall mountains and big arch bridges, they're as close as that's tough to beat. But if you want to do like Colorado narrow gauge or Maine 2-footers or something, even O scale's pretty tough. SM3 even pretty tough scales to beat. They're kind of perfect for that. And for what I'm doing, I would love to really do O scale for sure. But for what I'm doing for Appalachian Class 1 coal hauling with pushers, HO's hard to touch.
Right. And I have a new layout, which is switching. And it's going to be 40s to 50s. I have two layouts, actually. One is going to be all freight switching, and the other one's going to be all passenger switching.
That's how you're dividing your levels now?
Yes.
I think we run a lot of passenger stuff on the one that has the petition, front to back petition.
Yes. And so I'm like, oh, man, like if I had N scale, then I could actually model the entire Pennsylvanian or the Broadway Limited instead of just a 4 or 5 car passenger train in HO.
Yeah.
And
well, you about
like, and I'm like, oh, maybe I could switch it. Maybe I could switch it, to different a smaller scale, so I can run the train around a lot further amount of space and still have a nice yard to where I can build a train, break down a train, and in cars and stuff like that. The RPOs, the REAs, which is Rail Express Agency.
Yep.
But that'll be such a daunting task to sell everything again for the third time and then a fourth time and go to a different scale, especially with things going on right now in the world. It's probably not the best idea. I'd rather just keep what I have right now and work with it. And so, but what I like about the N scale, especially with passenger trains, especially the Katos, they have everything in a case for you. You can just open it up like a book and the whole train sitting there in one case. And I can have a bookshelf of all those train sets sitting in there, or a nice, I don't know, a 10-foot long shelf, and actually have probably 4 or 5 train sets on there, passenger sets on that shelf at one time. So, but also with HO, you can see more of the detail than the N scale as well. So that's what got me. Just between that and what's going on in the world at the moment, that's what's keeping me with the HO.
Well, that's what bugs me. Of course, I like the detail. And because I like the engineering, I like seeing at least the parts that are part of engineering. I mean, of course, I like the cosmetics and, I have requirements that my cars don't have to be exotic. I don't have to have all brass freight cars, for example, but I want separate grabs and I want cut levers. I mean, you can add cut levers, you can do grabs. That's not that demanding of a thing to ask for out of your equipment in my case, but that's kind of the standard I've set for myself because I like that look. But what I care about is all the engineering stuff, like a model turnout, a model switch has if you build fast track style, it has a couple of rails and a few parts. There's nothing. If you look at a prototype switch, there's these special tie plates and hook tie plates and cross braces against where the points contact the closure rails, and there's all these parts. There's 2 or 3 throw bars, and there's the extra parts in the middle that keep the throw bars down. There's gauge plates. There's so much going on there. And as an engineer, I love all that stuff. That's what makes that thing work. That's the mechanics. So I like a certain amount of detail. And you could get close at N scale, but something people misunderstand about, especially price and stuff, is that you need a lot more N scale because physics don't all scale the same. So if you're standing and looking at a 12-car train, I really like 20, 25, 30-car trains, really, at least for my layout. But if you're looking at a 12 or 14 car train at HO scale, that's stretched out 10, 12 feet. It feels pretty decent. It feels like a reasonable train.
Right.
10 or 12 cars at N scale, that's 3 feet. That's barely a field of view. I mean, the lack of mass doesn't make it feel as believable to me. It can, but I think you need 25 cars to make a train feel like it's a train doing work. So I think you need more at scale to do the same thing. It costs less,
Sure.
but you end up with this. My instinct is if you build a layout in a 15 by 15 space, I think it's going to cost you about the same amount to build it in scale as HO scale, all things considered. I
Agreed.
think.
Agreed. And that
I don't know.
right. And that's what I like. What I like about here, I got like a 13-foot section where I could do a lot of switching. And when I have now, since I have modeling the 50s or like 40s, the cars are smaller, and
Yeah,
so it looks a little more realistic in a smaller space than it will if I had 86 footers or 60-foot box cars and larger locomotives. And so
that's why I think modern equipment does so well. Things scale differently. 36 or 33 or 36 foot freight cars in O scale narrow gauge just looks great to me. That feels great, but they look kind of weird even at HO3, just to me personally. But something about like I got some 86 or 89 foot auto parts box cars, the ones Tangy come out with a couple years ago. In HO scale, man, those are they're awesome. I like them. They're unique. They're almost kind of goofy looking because they're big. They're odd looking. It looks like a DD40 or something. You know, it's a big leg. In scale, those look great. So my gut instinct is that InScale does a better job of simulating. To me, again, just my own eye, InScale does a better job of simulating more modern eras, and HO scale does a little bit better job in slightly, you know, the 1950. Whatever.
Right. And what really drawn me to N-Scale was actually operating Dean Ferris's layout in Texas, his Oregon joint line, as well as Speed Muller's layout.
Yeah, and he's got Speed's got a super cool layout. I got to visit his as well. Well, I mean, it's Namibia, you know. I mean, it's his otherworldly. It looks like Mars. It looks like
completely different world.
Yeah, man, I love it. I mean, he's got elephants, and it's a prototypical railroad with elephants. It's a great railroad. I mean, Speed's a great guy. All the sophistication and all the signaling, and it's a great layout. And
now, if anybody here doesn't know who Speed is an NMRA member, and he also hosts a lot of the NMRAX clinics. And he's a really good friend of ours. And his layout is very high tech when it comes to his switching. He uses touchscreen, Arduino switch machines, and everything pretty much Bluetooth.
Yeah, also goes all Wi-Fi using MQTT.
Wi-Fi, right?
Using Wi-Fi technology, which that's how I'm building mine. That's how I got in touch. That's how I got introduced to him, because I was doing something that he was further along with than I am. I'm using his code base. He was much further along than I was, and he's spectacularly intelligent at it. But I really thought InScale. I had some InScale. I have some InScale. Actually, I think there's some in one of these drawers here. I have some InScale from years ago, and it didn't run great. And my instinct was that I wouldn't enjoy operating it. Running it, coffee table layout, whatever, maybe. I didn't think I'd enjoy operating it. But I operated the guy who owns Midwest Model Railroad, Stephen Atwell, great fella too. I got to operate him and his dad's layout a few years ago. And it ran like a Swiss watch. I mean, it ran spectacular. Yeah. Small layout, same size as mine, single level, but it ran great. So I don't think I'd have a problem operating InScale. I think it just depends on the kind of operation you're going to do.
Right. And when we're talking about how Speed's layout looks like Mars, it takes place in Africa, where he's born and raised. And so when you go, and his room is, I don't know what, 10 by 13? It's fairly small. It's not really large.
I think it's a bonus room. I would say it's more like 20 by 20-ish.
20 by 20? Okay. And it's double decker. So
multi-level.
Yeah.
2-level. But it's
I'm waiting for him to jump in.
It's a super cool layout. It's just a cool layout. I mean, he's done a super good job of it. It's very linear the way I would like. I think it comes down to, especially just like whatever you're trying to model from a scenic perspective, I think different scales fit different things better, potentially. I think operationally, it depends on what you want to do. Like I'm operating, coal trains, hopefully with live loaders, with pushers. I think that would be a little bit of a challenge to pull off an InScale currently. I think that'll get easier as time goes on and technology improves. If you like yard operations a lot, InScale's not a bad choice. I don't really personally love yard operations. so much.
I volunteer, but also Dean and Speed were like, all right, you're a railroader here. Here's the yard.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's what I do on a normal basis every day. So it was a lot of fun to actually work that in a model. And believe it or not, there were some things I learned operating those layouts I actually put to my job and professionally.
Well, CSX has done that. I think it was CSX.
It is
CSX.
CSX. They do have a layout.
I thought so. That N scale thing, it's massive. It's like 8 foot wide by 40 feet, 30 feet long or something. And they teach people, not about the physics or mechanics of operating, but kind of the strategy, maybe. I don't know.
Counting cars,
Yeah.
how to be time sufficient, if time and cost effective when you're switching out cars. I'm not sure if they do kicking anymore, but at least they still do the flat switching. And so you have to they teach you how to build a train and break down a train in the most time efficient manner.
But it's hard to kick cars in any modeling. It gets easier at larger scales. I have figured out, I have virtually no experience. I would not at all call myself a railroader or ever. I worked a summer gig for 3 months before I went in the military at 18, working at Norfolk Southern's John Sevier Yard out of Knoxville, and got a few months there. And the guy who would go out in the rain and throw a switch down, for the yard crews. That's all the experience I have. But they kick. So I have some experience about somewhat how that mechanics is done. And I've been able to figure out how to do some of that, but it requires a lot of abnormal considerations.
You want the cheapest way to do it?
Yeah.
You know the cheapest way to do it? Ping.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, if you're willing to
just ping your cars.
If you'll overweight your cars the way I overweight cars, it makes it much more possible to do because they'll take the kind of inertia you have to put into it.
Right.
You're not perfect. Jim Lincoln, Jim Lincoln, who's been interviewed by Troy Pandemis years ago on our community here, and he's a pretty well known Proto 48 modeler in the community there, and does some really good 3D printing stuff there. He's a prototype railroader who used to work for CSX and I think works for like the Boston Transit or something like that now. And he had done some work on figuring out how to kick cars in HO scale on one of the layouts he operates on, I think on Mike Rose's or something. And I think he had some reasonable amount of success.
Right. And with Speed, right. And Speed has a classification yard where he actually has a hump yard to where he uses the magnets to uncouple the cars, and you have to build the trains in specific tracks, classify them.
Yeah.
And so it's that's what I like about N scale too. If you can have that space to do that. So I don't know any personally, but I'm sure there are folks out there that all they have is just a hump yard and a lead track, and that's all they model.
It requires a lot. My instinct is I've seen people who modeled hump yards, several of them. It requires logic to do that. So you've got to use like hoses pointed back with some air to kind of retard car movement, and it requires speed sensors in the track and microcontrollers, Arduinos or otherwise, with programming logic to slow cars down correctly. I mean, there's logic on the prototype. There's computers, the prototype, it's PLCs that are doing that kind of control, but it requires logic. You can't do it.
Right.
You can't do it practically. The special effects movie world, they call it practical. It requires some logic. I think it requires logic to do it. We built one into a club layout I was a member of years ago, and used like some filament stuck up like toothbrush or paintbrush bristles up to retard cars. It works some.
Right. I know that there's a reason. There's a way Speed does his. Does he have retarders? I don't remember.
I think his was a flat yard, which most hump yards in America aren't operational anymore. They've largely, not most. Yeah, maybe most. There's not that many hump yards operational in America anymore.
I think you only got one.
Oh, is it down to that few? Okay, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, I think it is just one. It's kind of north central.
That's what I was thinking, like a NOLA or what. Maybe it's still flat. I don't know. North Platte might have. I don't know. There's not a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the one, North Platte.
North Platte's
The-
ridiculous.
Yes. Does the BNSF, is it the Feather River, I got the HO scale layout. I think he uses readers. He has a reader on his layout to make a readout of the trains that are moving on his layout.
That's what it would take. It takes a bunch of logic to do that. It
Right.
takes computer stuff. I mean, that's not that hard. I mean, I have quite a bit of electronic circuitry going into my layout. A lot of us do these days. It's real common, but
Right, and actually gave Speed some of my switch lists so he can go off of what a switch list looks like. And here's one of mine from one I work on.
yeah.
And so, and I told him you can. I mean, if you create a reader, then that's great. And if not, I've used WordPerfect and just created one. You know, it takes a little bit of time, but I mean, it's a hobby. Just hang out and work on it. And you can just redo the numbers. I'm going to use waybills and waybills and stuff on this layout because that's what the 50s and the 40s they used. That they also used, I think in the 50s, actually started creating a switch list.
Yeah, well, most of the time, what happens, you have bill of lading, and conductor or guy in the caboose would take the bills of lading and would write out a switch list for the engineer. So
Right.
I like switch list style operations personally, but that's just freight. What really matters in operations is what tells a train when it can move, so that's permission and protection. So, and that matters a lot. In 1950, odds are you didn't have radio, so timetable of train orders all you got. If you by the
Right.
time radios
And-
come along, then you can start doing things like track warrants, which I think most modern railroaders should use track warrants, at least to get started. You don't need signals, CTC or ABS. Track warrants are Google it, print out a piece of paper, watch a couple videos, start doing it.
Mhm. I've done an MRA clinic on track warrants.
Oh yeah, okay.
And yeah, it just the simplistic way to do it. And I tell everybody all the time, just if you have any questions, message me because I use track warrants all the time. And actually, we were talking about before radios. Did you know in Sunnyside Yard in Queens, is it Queens in New York, the Pennsylvania Railroad, they had to use loudspeakers in their yard. And so the train master, they have multiple train masters. The yard was so massive, they used multiple train masters. And it will say, all right, switch crew number 10, you need to move car 108 to track number 5 behind car 107. That was how they moved cars around. If you made a mistake, you were done for.
Now we
Because
forget what the world
that's
was like.
the way.
We forget what the world was like before this stuff.
Right.
And that's what this is. I mean, this is a two-way radio with a computer in front of it. So we
Right.
forget what the world was like before radios. We're prepped.
One of my engineers on the railroad, he worked for the Southern Pacific right before the UP merger. And his yard in California, they still used into the late 80s, early 90s, they still used loudspeakers in the hump yards and the classification yards.
Wow, that's great. Well, I mean, some of these technologies last a long time. I mean,
Right.
trade orders. The last railroad to use trade orders was like the Long Island Railroad in 2011 or something. I mean,
Mhm.
railroads started moving away from them in 1950 something.
Right. It's really amazing. And Trains Magazine had a really nice article on Sunnyside Yard and some of these passenger yards. And I think the Housatonic Railroad, www.housatonicrailroad.com or housatonicrr.com, he has a phenomenal article on passenger operations and how to incorporate that into your operations, into your layout. And that's what got me interested in building a passenger switching layout. It's just, using multiple. I condensed it so much into the space I have, but I have 4 tracks for a terminal. So those are your arrival departure tracks for your passenger trains. And then I have in the foreground, I have a railroad post office, RPOs. Behind that are REAs, which is the Railway Express Agency box cars, or head end cars they're called, which has some freight, some baggage, also baggage cars. And then I have 2 tracks behind those, which are storage tracks for domes, diners, sleepers, and other coaches. Sometimes you even have a specialty car. You have a specialty car. If there's a special private car that is going to be put on the train, those are stored on the storage track. And then behind that, I just have an extra spare track that's for storage or for the cars to go through a washer. So there's another operation scheme. You need to bring the whole train through a washer along with the locomotives.
That's
And
interesting.
so
Passenger
once you build all of that, then you have to put the trains together because, and I thought about using a turntable because sometimes you have to turn the cars around so folks have a different view. But the New York Central did not turn their cars around because they wanted the sleepers to have the same view, north and south, to view the Hudson River on their passenger trains. And
Yeah,
so sometimes you have to turn the locomotives around, A, B units or A and A units, or the passenger cars had to be turned around. So they had a turntable for that specific reason. So that is another operation for your layout. And also you had a car shop if you had a bad order. A locomotive facility, you need switches to pull the trains out. So sometimes you could bring if it's a terminal, which is a stub end yard, you bring the passenger trains in, and after you unload the passengers, they have to back the train out. The switches take over. The main line locomotives will go onto a servicing station or to be washed, service, whatever it needs. The switchers, Amtrak still does this to this day. They'll switch out the cars and build the train up, bring the trains right back to the station, and then the locomotives for the mainline freight will back up and hook up to the train and go the other way. And all that operation, a lot of that today obviously has been eliminated because you use push-pull service. And I think that started in the 60s or the early 70s. The Central New Jersey around then started doing that.
Yeah, British have done that a whole lot, but everything changes post that era.
Right.
We need to change too.
Yeah, I know we're already running late on you.
Yeah.
It's really dark.
But,
Yikes.
yeah, we got the summer coming up, so instead of taking 3 months off like I did last year, this year I'm just going to do one show a month. I'll probably do it somewhere it's in the middle of the month, so look out for that notification. And Bill's still going to do a few shows himself during the summer. He's looking for guests to have, and also, and then starting back next September, we got other shows coming in. We got Mike Dettinger coming in with his new show. Andy, you got yours coming back, right?
Yeah, mine's continuing right on. I'm just gonna me and Ralph just keep right on trucking through the summer.
Oh, you are?
Content. Most of it's pre-recorded, but we're dropping the videos, and we just went live, played the videos, and voiced over them live, and done a little Q&A too last time. But I don't really like that model, so we'll do that again.
Okay.
We'll probably just keep right on going for a few more months.
Yeah, I missed a memo on that one.
Yeah, well, we may have a little bit of a issue depending on timing as time comes up because I've got to be out of town. I got to go to Colorado in August. So, we'll work that out.
Yeah. All righty. Well, I appreciate everybody coming in and chat. Andy, good seeing you again.
As always.
Joey, good to see you. Appreciate
You
y'all
too, Johnny.
being on the panel. So I guess with that being said, we'll if I get all the right buttons pushed again, I'll find where I'm at. We shall see y'all a little later. Don't forget, my show will be starting next month. In the month of June, we'll be in the middle of the month. And that'll be for June, July, and August. But y'all have a good weekend, and we shall see you later. Well, get that done right.